30th, 2015, and I thought I would walk around and show you my fruit trees and vines. This is the muscadine or scuppernong, depending on what part of the country you're from, vine. I have a pruning video about this, and it's kind of doing what it's supposed to do. You can see we're going to have fruit under here, and for folks who don't know how to prune these, you cut almost all of the what grew the previous year. You cut off, and all of this new green growth is just from this spring. But anyway, this is doing what it should. It's a second one right there. Looks about like the first one. Has fruit on it as well. Before I walk out to the trees, I thought I would kind of from a distance back show you what they are. Back here in this back way backyard, there's a row of fruit trees right here. Not a lot of trees in it. A trellis right here that doesn't have a whole lot of stuff on it. A trellis right here that's got some vines on it. All muscadine, I think. A trellis right here that has some kiwi and some grapes on it, and then 2 more rows of fruit trees. So that's kind of what I have in my backyard. Alright, so this is that first row. First 5 trees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those first 5 trees are all cherry. There's 2 bings, 2, I think it's called Morency or black, anyway, whatever they are. And one that was, I think, a Tarian or something like that. But anyway, I don't know. It may be too hot in Georgia to ever get cherries, but I'm going to give them a few years and see what happens. I think I planted all these in 2014, with the exception of this first one. I think this first one's a few years old and just has never grown very well. In fact, half of it looks like it didn't make it through the winter. Anyway, those are all cherry trees. Let me walk down a little further. This little tree is a Fuyu persimmon. I planted it this year. I actually bought it in 2014 and planted it, but it never did leaf out. So the nursery I bought it from Ison's Nursery. I think you've probably, if you watch many of my videos, that's where a lot of my stuff comes from. Anyway, they sent me this one this late winter or early spring. I don't remember which one, and I planted it. And this one has leafed out okay. So be several years before I get any fruit off of that. This tree is actually just the rootstock from a Pakistan mulberry that didn't leaf out, again from Ison's. Same time, I guess it was, you know, in not last winter, but the winter before that, we had a really harsh cold winter. So this above the rootstock never leafed out, but the rootstock grew a tree. All this is growth from one season. It's almost 8 feet tall at the very top there. Probably going to cut this down. I don't know if it'll fruit. I'm going to give it a few years and see what happens. This is the replacement that I got this and planted this spring. This is a Pakistan mulberry. I have another mulberry in the front yard that's just a huge tree, but it's so big that we can only get the fruit off of the very bottom limbs. So I'll walk down here, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time, but it may be hard to tell, but those 2 wooden posts are the ends of 2 different trellises. And so there's a wine grape and a wine grape they were only a year old when I planted them last year, so usually you need a couple of years for them to get established. And then they should shoot up and go out. I'll leave. Actually, those are over on the 3rd row, so never mind about those. We'll actually walk over there. But some muscadine. I've got a lot of empty places here. Some muscadine. This brambly stuff. Some either I think this is blackberries or raspberries, and some more blackberries and raspberries that I haven't taken care of. So there's weeds and all kinds of junk growing in them. Need to do something with them, but just didn't have time this year. The work's been pretty hectic. Anyway, nothing really to look at on these couple of trellises here yet. I'm gonna walk over and we'll look at the 3rd trellis. There's a little bit there. All right, so this is the 3rd trellis. These are the 2 grapevines I told you about. This is Blanc de Bois, and this is Cynthiana, I think. yeah, it's kind of weeded up and grown up. I need to get out here and train those a little more and do some pruning, but I haven't this year. Just haven't done anything with the fruit like I should have. But anyway, this is a Concord grape, and I took a cutting a couple of years ago from my grandmother's old home place in Ephesus, Georgia, and grew it. I've got one at my house and one at my dad's house, so actually going to have some grapes on this one this year. And it's a Concord, so you can see some fruit here, stuff like that. So that's a Concord that needs some training and stuff like that, but that's what it looks like right now. All right, next to that is a Reliance grape. These are seedless. I don't know a whole lot about them, but they look kind of, again, this is the first time I've really been out and looked at my fruit stuff much this year. Little black spots on them. I don't know what that is. If you know about grapes, maybe you can tell me what that is. And I don't know if that's more fruit than this vine can support or not. I don't know if I should thin some of that out or if I should just leave it alone. But this is a Reliance grape. This next one is Jupiter. So the Reliance right there, the fruit is round. The Jupiter, they're more kind of football shaped, and some places they're kind of mixed in together. A lot of fruit on this one, and we actually had some grapes off this last year, but about the time they get ripe, the squirrels and the birds want them, so you have to fight for them. I don't know if I should thin some of this out or if I should leave it alone. If you know about grapes and want to comment, I would appreciate any advice. But that's Reliance. Got 2 Arctic Kiwis, one here and one over there. That's a male, and this is an Anna. I pruned this one all the way back to the wires this winter. So all of this growth, like on this limb right here, that goes all the way up and all the way out here, all that's from this spring so far. Same thing, I don't know if you can see this big tall one. All that growth is from this spring. I think this is their 3rd year, and I think you should see fruit in the 7th or 8th year, so I've got a long time with these left to go. And over in the first 2 rows of trees, I'm going to skip the blueberries and the row with the kiwi, because they're not looking all that great. These trees, these 2 trees right here, are both crab apples. It was something that started with a D, the variety, but I can't remember what it was. But you can see fruit all over the place. Here. Oh, I'll knock a few of them off. These don't ripen until the fall when the weather starts to cool off, and they are delicious. They're not as sour. They're tart, but they're not sour like a wild crab apple is here in Georgia. Right here, kind of in a cluster, I've got 4 plum trees. This one over here, I think is a methley plum, but I've never seen it fruit, not even once. And it's pretty big. Might give it another year or 2, but at some point I'm going to cut that one down because it's not going to fruit. This one right here I think is a Bruce, I think. And it has had some fruit. There's a few left on it that haven't ripened yet. You see under here. I didn't spray at all this year, so yeah, you know, if you don't put any work into your fruit, you know, you can't expect to get a lot out. But I've got 4 plum trees. Well, no, I had 4. This one has always produced fruit, but has been in pretty bad shape for the last couple of years. And it leafed out this year and even produced a few plums. I think there's one still hanging on. But the whole thing is dying, and so this one will come out and I'll have another space for a tree here. And then behind us, so in the middle here, is one more plum tree. I don't remember what this is, but I've never seen a plum on this one either. This is, looks like that sign says Burbank. So I did something a little different this year. Is I didn't prune any of my trees, hoping to see them set some more fruit than they have been. But the plums still don't seem to want to. Alright, just no good way of seeing all the peach trees. The two peach trees on the right, this one and this one, I started from peach pits from a grocery store peach. Let's see if I go up. This tree and then this next tree I bought from a nursery, and they seem to have fruit on them. I mean, I don't know if you can see that. Probably not gonna be any good because I haven't sprayed and I haven't taken care of anything this year. I didn't even fertilize this year. It's the first time I've ever not fertilized. The peaches seem to have fruit on them, but you know, without spraying, who knows what kind of worms are already in them. We'll walk past those. This is a not a peach, it looks like it, but it's a nectarine. Haven't seen fruit on it yet, so I don't know if it'll fruit, but I only put it in a couple years ago, so we'll let it grow a little more. Over here, some blueberries. I think I did actually prune this plant this year. I think I took a third of the oldest stuff out, so it seems to have less fruit on it, but I suspect that will help me out next year. I did prune that tree, or that bush. I have 4, I think these are all climax. So you can see there's fruit. Not ripe yet, but not a long way from it. Here's a third one. And the fourth one. 3 pomegranates. These are probably several years old, like, I don't know, 5 or 7 years old. This one, I've been cutting grass, that's what you see on my hand there. This one, an ambrosia, you know, got several ambrosia beetles in it this year. So it's dead, all the top is dead. There's a few sprouts from the bottom, so it may make it, may not. This one is the same age as this one, just never has grown very fast. This one's probably 2 or 3 years younger, and seems to be okay. Poor lonely fig bush right there. The first like 3 or 4 years of its life, I accidentally bush hogged it every year. Finally put a post up, and it's grown up this year. But all of the top, you know, it was a little bigger last year if you watch the videos. But all of the top died from the cold winter last year, and then this winter, or this spring maybe, the ambrosia beetles got it as well. These grapes, Thompson and Red Flame, look pretty terrible. All of the growth that was up and up the vine was from last year because, not last winter, but the winter before that, it was so harsh. Killed these all the way back to the ground. So that grew 1 year, and in 1 year, they don't look all that great, but that's only, you know, this is the second season of them growing up from the ground again. And then the last thing to look at, this is another Concord grape. This one was not my grandmother's. This is one of the first grapevines I planted, and it's loaded. If you want to grow one grape and not have to do anything to it, and just know that you're going to have success every year, Concord is the one to do. You do absolutely nothing to it except prune it, and you can see all the fruit that's under here. Now I'm going to have to fight the birds and the squirrels to get the fruit, but it produces a lot, and it ripens and doesn't seem to get diseased. Insects don't seem to bother it, at least not here. But anyway, you know, I completely neglected to show you the 5 apple trees down at this end. So thought I was at the end of the video, but guess not. This is a horse apple. I had 2, goats ate 1, goats almost ate this one, but it survived. There's only 1 lone apple on it right over there that I can see. This apple tree, if I can see the tag, I'd tell you what it is. I can't remember. There are a few apples on this one, not just a ton. A couple there, 1 there, a couple there. Just a few, but this is a Granny Smith. I keep thinking we're going to lose this one. It gets fire blight every year just about. And looks always pretty rough. It's Granny Smith. Usually has a few apples, not a lot. I see a few on it, not a lot. That's a Granny Smith. This is the most productive apple tree. This is a Yellow Delicious, and while I don't care for a Yellow Delicious apple from the grocery store, Yellow Delicious apples off my tree are really good. And like usual, it does have just quite a few apples on it. This is a Fuji apple. And I don't know if I see a single apple on here. Oh, there's one. So maybe not a great year for apples here. Oh, there's one right over there. But anyway, so now that's the end of my update. Thanks for watching.